Hello there, beautiful people. So I drew this reversed Five of Swords the other day for myself, and it just made me want to share something that I thought was kind of important, because I realize I take it for granted that you'll see that, yeah, some of my explanations of the tarot cards are slightly different than other people, and a lot of the people will say that yes, this one card has this one meaning and that's the way to read it, and I understand that, and it's really useful if you're beginning, and it's quite helpful. But I've been reading the tarot, or at least playing with these cards for over 25, 30 years, and and they're still incredibly interesting for me, and it's still rich, it's still valuable, and I'm still finding new stuff, and it's that new, exciting, keep it alive type dynamic, which means that I've got maybe 10, maybe 100 different ways to read one card, and it will depend a little bit upon the situation. So when I look at a card, I take a step back, and sometimes I'll deliberately say, no, don't fall for the meaning that you've always known, or the one that you always fall back on. Take a step back, question a little bit more, ask a little bit deeper, especially when the cards are reversed, because when the cards are reversed, for me, there's something twisted. There's something twisted in the card that you're not seeing, that you have to twist your vision, your head, your perspective in order to grasp. And so if it's about me, which it was, then instead of just looking at this card and thinking, wow, yeah, there's obviously some conflict there, there's the winner-loser dynamic of the mind, there's the right-wrong story of how we mentally want to prove to the world how our ideas are better than everybody else, and we'll fight people for it with our mental sword and our intellect, and we'll make sure that we're right and everybody else is wrong. There's that dynamic in it, right? But then I thought, well, what would be a twisted way to read this for me? There's something that's a little bit more, maybe more pertinent to what's going on in my life now. So I was looking at it, and a good practice to do is take a step back and just look at the simple archetypes. Look at the five relating to that Mars-like, warlike nature, the disrupting energy, the more erosive energy, the more conflicting type of energy. Take a step back, look at that. Look at that willingness to fight, that willingness to stand up and be right. Yeah, look at that in a different way. Look at that in your mind, in your beliefs. And I've been doing a bunch of work on beliefs, and writing a course on and how we can promote very simple shifts in our mind and our ways of thinking and our inner unconscious programming. And so doing this work has been forcing me to look at my own stuff as well. And I realized, wow, yeah, sometimes actually I don't actually get up and fight for what's right for me. I'll be one of these guys in the background that's not necessarily, oh, I've got a losing mentality, but more, oh, I am afraid sometimes to get the fire of my rightness out and stand up for what is important for me, what is passionate for me. These guys in the background, they've lost their passion. They're like, okay, I've lost. No, it's not about losing. It's about getting up again. It's not about just surrendering to the disappointment of loss, because it's going to happen in life. We're going to lose. We're going to lose 100 times. And it's not about surrendering to that disappointment and fearing that it might come, that sometimes, this could be, or this twisted version could be, maybe so much the fearing of disappointment, and this is probably what I relate to, that I'm not willing to go in for the fight, because what happens if I lose and I come from a high level to a low level, and that disappointment is, or that drop in energy is so drastic and so energetically draining and so saddening, and probably reminds me of many stories in my past as well, that I'm not actually going to even enter the fight, and I'm not even actually going to step in, step up, get excited about what might be right for me. When I looked at it, I thought, wow, there's a positive message. And when cards seem to be a little bit negative and they're a little bit darker in nature, and then they're twisted, let's see if we can twist the darkness and turn it into maybe not necessarily a more positive message. I'm always looking for a positive message, even in the twistedness, even in the darker cards. There's something beautiful there, because there's something rich and enlightening and shining a light on our shadow always. There's always a valuable lesson. But twisting this fighting nature and using the intellect to actually tell ourselves, hey, we need to stand up and fight. We need to get disappointed. We need to fail. We need to lose the mental battle so that we can win the war, if you like. We need to learn how to, stand up for ourselves and stand up for what feels right for us at every moment in our lives, in a regular day-to-day basis. But yeah, something that I probably find a little bit more challenging, and probably definitely have been of late. So just a little bit of a banter about how we can always see new in something, always see something relevant. Don't take what other people, what you might have learned as a meaning for a card at face value. If it doesn't seem to match you, if it doesn't seem to completely make sense in the stories when you're looking for guidance, dive a little bit deeper. Take a step back, look at the archetypes of the card, and then come in from a new angle, come in from a different perspective, twist your view and say, how could these archetypes relate to what's going on in my life? And in those moments you'll see new meanings, new ways to read cards, and it'll keep you always excited, even when you might think you already know. Anyway, have a great day, guys. I'd love to hear your comments as always.